It's the grandson of right thought. Abraham, in the scripture, was he one of God's chosen? Was he a righteous man of faith? Did he suffer distress? Well, we want to talk about one particular situation where he did suffer such distress. And I want to share this with all of you fathers today who are not around your children or not around your little ones that you love, not able to be in their life, whether it be baby mama drama, whether it be financial, whatever it is. I want to share this with you so that you can have some peace about the distress that you're going through as a father. As we all know, Abraham had a wife named Sarah, and they were promised a child named Isaac. He was the promised son. Okay? Now, it took a long time for this promise to come to fruition. So during the time that they were waiting for the promise to come, Sarah said, well, here is my handmaiden Hagar. Take her and have a child with her, that I may be able to have a child through her. So he laid with Hagar, and Hagar bore Ishmael. Okay? Ishmael grew, and the promise was fulfilled. And then Isaac came. And as Isaac started to grow, Sarah started to notice some enmity between Hagar and Ishmael and her boy. So she told Abraham to kick Hagar and their child Ishmael out of her house, out of their house. Now, when Abraham heard this, he was greatly distressed, the Bible said. Now look up that word distressed and see what it means. Because all of you fathers, I'm sure that you suffered great distress when you had to separate from your children, if you've had to. It is a feeling that no one can understand unless they are a father and have lost their children. It's a very unique feeling of loss, suffering a loss, especially if it's your son, your firstborn son, your heir, and you lose him to a situation, baby mama drama, or whatever the case may be. It's a feeling that's unlike anything else. So when it says Abraham suffered great distress, you understand that then, don't you? But then an angel came to Abraham and said, the thing that Sarah told you to do, do it. The Most High says that you do it. The Most High said you're going to have to kick her out with the child. So Abraham, being a man of faith, took a jug of water and a little bit of food and gave it to Hagar, put the baby in her hands, put the water on her, gave her the child, and sent her on her way into the wilderness, it says. The next morning he did it. So it greatly distressed him that he had to separate from his child. But he had to do it. Do you understand that? Ishmael never came back to dwell with Abraham. And because he was distressed about it, Abraham heard the cries of that baby Ishmael. He said, because of that's your daddy, Abraham, I'm going to bless you too, Ishmael. You're going to be a great nation too. And Abba going to have a remnant. He's going to extend his hand a second time to Ishmael as well and gather up some. You see? So that gave Abraham some peace about his situation. But it greatly distressed him when he had to separate from his child. So, do you think that there were people that didn't understand that when they saw it? Do you think some of them may have called him a deadbeat dad? Or all kinds of wicked names? He doesn't even take care of his own seed. Look at how Abraham does his child. Gosh. Just kicked him out into the wilderness with a jug of water. What kind of father does that? They're probably going to die out there. And they almost did. You see? But an angel came and ministered to the baby and to Hagar. And Ishmael was blessed and became a nation of his own. So we see that he had to separate, or there was some division there. We also read that when Isaac was born, he had to sacrifice Isaac on an altar. He had to show his faith by doing that, being willing to. Are you willing to give your only son for me? I asked you for Ishmael, and you gave him up. Now you're willing to give your only son? Abraham was willing. So now you're one with Abba Yah. Your love has been perfected. Your love for Abba. What he's saying is he loved Abba more than his only son that he'd been waiting for 100 years. That's what he's showing. Abraham is. I love my only son, Isaac. I've already had to get rid of Ishmael. That greatly distressed me. So how do you think I feel about having to sacrifice Isaac? But if you say to do it, Abba Yah, I'll do it. Wow. And he was willing to. Before Abba Yah stopped him and said, okay, Abraham, I know you love me now. That's what he says. I know you love me now. And it says Abraham was his friend. You see? The friend of God. What does it say about Enoch? He walked with God and was not, for God took him. So the thing that we need to know as men first in this world is that we walk with Abba Yah. And that we be his friend. He be our friend. He be our father. He be our brother. He be our everything. Before any woman, before any of your children, before any of your brothers, sisters, your mother, you put Abba Yah first. And you be willing to kill anything else for his love if it be necessary. That's why Yahushua told us, if your right hand offends you, cut it off. If your right eye offends you, pluck it out. Be willing to give it up, in other words, is what he's saying. Not literally take a sword and cut it off. He's saying, be willing to sacrifice that thing for the kingdom's sake, like Abraham was. So let them call you whatever they want to call you. Deadbeat dad. You don't love them. You know, you need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. No, all you need to do is have faith in Abba Yah. That's all you have to do. So I wanted to share that with you all. And anybody, specifically who has had to separate from children, and it has caused you great distress, because it does every single day. If you've had to go through it, if you've been separated from your children, then you know the feeling. It's kin to death. And the only thing that keeps you going is Abba Yah's promises of redemption, of vindication. So be encouraged today, Israel. Shalom.